What's up, guys? RV Tech Pro. We'll take a look at some bit ratchets today and why I think the not so new Icon bit ratchet can be a game changer. But if there are any tool makers out there that's watching us or someone who knows one, if you make what we're about to get into in a second, then it'll probably change the game. I'm sure everybody will buy one. So let's start off with the Easy Red. All right. I bought this not too long ago, and this has really been a good tool. It's really saved my butt recently. It seems like whenever I buy tools that I don't need, but I see that I have a need for, and possibly I end up using it within that week, and it really helps me. So for a long time, I've seen the value of these bit ratchets. Now, I have these in Blue Point. I have a Blue Point set that has a 1/4-inch ratchet on one end and a 1/4-inch bit ratchet on the other. And it's been great, and I've been using it. But sometimes I needed one that was a little bit shorter, and sometimes I needed one that was a whole lot longer. And that's why I bought this, my RV guys. Specifically, I was thinking about, as I stated in a previous video, that little screw, the retaining screw for a Schwintek motor, which is normally going to be a Phillips tip. You know, when the room is stuck in and you need to remove the motor because the motor is bad and you can't push it out, you might get it out an inch or so. You don't have much room to get in there and get that screw out. Now, if you can't get the room out to where you can get to that screw, then you basically gotta cut the fascia boards on the outside of the slide in that location, and then you're gonna be replacing that, of course, after you order one. And that's a lot of work. But if you can get it about a couple inches open, enough to get something like this in there, then you're going to be golden. So that's why I went ahead and bought this, but I ended up using it on a 2023 Thor Aria. I had to replace the inside TV, which is on a stationary bracket system, and typically to remove that television, you take the sound bar off from below, and that exposes the 4 bolts for the bottom of the 2 individual brackets that the TV is hanging on. And at the top, you can angle a driver and get the top 2 bolts. All right? Problem is they use triple squares and they stripped them out as they went in. As you know, those triple square fasteners, they're not that deep. So when you have a really shallow fastener and you strip it out, you're not getting it out. So, and on top of that, even after I got all of them out, except one on one bracket, they had it glued, and had I pulled the brackets off by force, which I would have had to do, it would have ripped the veneer off of the board, causing yet another problem. So I had to work with about 3.5, 4-inch space between the wall and the back of the television to get that out. Now, I used my snap-on bit ratchet to get them out, and this was jammed up against the wall and kind of damaging the veneer a little bit on one side, but since the television was right there, I wasn't too much worried about that, scuffing that up a little bit. But once I got that out, I already knew that I couldn't use this tool to get it back in because so much pressure was being put on it. I needed this guy. I knew that I was going to have something way more flat and shallow to get that back in. And with the length of this, plus the bit, with this, with the bit in it, it's about that long. That's about how much space I had. and I knew I couldn't get it in there with that and the screw. See, now it's too long. Before, because I could flex the TV a little, because it was a bad television, and I can just kind of bend the bracket out, I was able to get the old TV off, but I could not risk doing that to the new television. I needed something that was going to really fit. So I went from this to basically this, using the Easy Red, all right? Of course, I had a bit in it. You know, I had like a Phillips tip bit. So that's what I went to. All right. I would not have gotten it back together without this, and it was even tough to do it with this because the swing arc was minimal, but this was able to do it. The flex head feature was not needed because I needed to go straight on, but this thing really saved me. It took me about a half an hour to get all 4 screws in because my arm was bigger. My forearm was a lot bigger than the space that I had to work with, so I'm like forcing my arm, skinning it up just to get in there enough to be able to articulate this. But because of the fine tooth count, this thing is made well. I was able to hold it on the very end and kind of use this. I ended up using the flex head as a handle. So I needed a handle. So I locked that in as so, and I used that as a grip to work with that. I couldn't get my full fist in there, but I just worked it with a couple of fingers using that as a grip. So I was like, man, I wish this thing was a little bit longer, because if it was longer, I could have had a full strength and a better swing. But because my arm was mitigating the articulation motion, I was in trouble, and I needed something longer. Something shorter would not have worked because I couldn't fit my arm in that far. That was the whole problem. Big 55-inch TV, and I'm trying to reach to the center to put screws in, which means they have to be lined up properly and whatnot. So this really saved the day. Very happy with this tool. I have not had to use this side yet. I mainly got it for a long bit ratchet anyway. Maybe it'll come in handy on this side, but I mainly got it for the bit ratchet side. So why did I end up with this? Well, I was watching other people's videos, and everybody says this thing is great, but man, for $44, I'm not buying it for $44. This is like 10 bucks. This was my first bit ratchet right here. Auto parts store. I think it's a Titan, maybe. Yep, it's a Titan. Got it out of O'Reilly's Auto Parts back when I was a dealer tech. I specifically bought this and some other little tools like 1/4-inch ratchets for brake controllers. This is the size screw that it's a very common size, 1/4-inch, 5/16 hex, very common. But on the brake controllers, it comes with these little 1/4-inch screws. And what I could do with this bit ratchet is, without even having to put a bit in there, a nut driver bit or anything, or a socket on a little small ratchet, it fits. And if I had to deal with the a Phillips tip screw or something different, I could just put the bit in there and this will still fit, where a ratchet wouldn't, because the ratchet was way too long. The ratchet would be too big, even 1/4-inch ratchet. By the time I put a socket and everything on there to adapt it to receive bits, it's way longer than this, right? Like the example that I gave you earlier. There's that little piece, that collar that I had. Lost it that fast. But anyway, it's on the drill. So by the time you put a little adapter on there and you put your bit in there, it's just too long. See, guys? It's too much, right? This is a lot better. Just the adapter with the regular snap-on 1/4-inch ratchet. I'm almost at it's still a little shorter on the little Titan, so that's why I got it. But like I said, most of these almost always this is going to be using the 1/4 inch. But if I had to put a bit in here, I have some stubby bits that came with this thing that are really shallow, and I use those in that. This is just out of this little Harbor Freight kit, and we'll get to that in a second. All right, so check this out. So this is the first bit ratchet. I'm getting to why the icon can be a game changer, and if someone changes this design a little bit, it will be a total game changer. All right, so this is the little set that I bought. Everybody knows about it. It's a very good seller for Harbor Freight. They almost never put it on sale. It's $44. I think it's grossly overpriced. I won't buy it at that price, but they had it on for 25% off today, so I went ahead and bought it. I think I paid like 30 bucks. Okay. So for 30 bucks, I said I'll try it. Plus, from watching some other YouTubers' videos, it had a feature where you can put the handle in here and make it a little longer. I was like, huh, that'd be awesome if it was a 1/4 inch drive, to where I can use any 1/4 inch extension to make the handle. So I thought about it. I was like, yeah, you know, I could. I'll just have to use an adapter, and then I can use that just the way I want to use it, so I can get it to be longer than the Easy Red. So that's why I bought this, specifically for that purpose, knowing that, and the bit case is nice, and it's small, and it's compact, and it has an assortment of bits. I use square number 2, Robertson number 2s. It doesn't have those, so for me, you know, those are my main bits. It's going to be Phillips PH2 and a number 2 square. And this thing does come with the little adapter that I'm talking about. So you put that in here, and now I can make this into a super long bit ratchet, which is pretty awesome. So here's the Easy Red. Compared to that, and this is a Mac extension set, good quality extension. And now, had I had this set up when I was working on that television set, I would have easily been able to manipulate the screws to get those Phillips head screws to go back into the television. Let's try one out. PH number 2. Nice, shallow, short. Like it. Only thing that I'll change is I'll swap out some of these bits and put in some squares. So I don't know why Harbor Freight does not include the number 2 squares in their bit sets. Even in this supposed, oh yeah, they're here. I'll take some of these out of here and put in here, so I can have what I use, which are the squares. And I'll get rid of like some of these Allens or something like that. I'll get rid of these because I have these in bit sockets, and I'll include the things that I use, which are the square 1, 2, and 3. Mainly just the 2. Every once in a while you come across a 3, but mainly just the number 2s. All right. They even have a 0 in that set, so that's actually a really good set. So that's what we got going on. And someone else might have figured this out already. I don't know. I hadn't seen it on YouTube, so I'm making a video. But yeah, because of that, this little piece right here, which I'm sure Harbor Freight intended for you to use that so that you can use 1/4 inch sockets on here. But man, when you take that out, put it in that end so that you can take any 1/4 inch extension and make this thing as long as you want. It is so useful. I can make that as long as I want. Okay. And this is about as long as I would need it for what I've ran into so far, is with my do I have a tape measure? That's probably a 12 or 18 inch. I don't have my tape measure out here, but this is probably a 12 or 18 inch extension right here, and that's what I would need. Now on its own, this is a good bit driver as it is. I don't know where this little piece came from. I'm gonna stick it right there. What I like about this, having not even used it yet. What I like about this is I like the button for the locking mechanism. Of course, you could turn to a spinner on a full 90. I wouldn't use it. I don't need to use it like that. I like the selector. The selector on this one, it's a lot smaller. The head is smaller and everything compared to the Easy Red. It's a much smaller tool, and I like the locking mechanism a lot better on the Icon one. This is made in Taiwan. Where is it? Right there. Made in Taiwan. Taiwanese tools. A lot of people's doing that. And then here comes the some of the versatility. So the thumb wheel moves pretty easy. It's a lot easier to move than the Easy Red. The Easy Red doesn't have as aggressive knurling to give you the ease of use. Maybe because they tapered it in, and this one isn't. This one has more of that hard edge and a little coarser knurling. Makes it a little easier to see. Your finger can slip on that one a lot, but this one, nice. Okay. Something else you could do with this is, let's go back to that little trick, putting the 1/4 inch there. Now I could take my Koken double swivel, and I can take one of my Mac extensions, and now I can be behind the television or whatever you're working on. Let's put the selector. And my hand is out and away from the wall instead of having it straight. I can put the double U-joint in the middle. So the possibilities are endless with this, as long as you're not going to have a problem with your, let's throw a bit in there. I also like how deep the bit sits down in here. And in the back, it's open versus the closed back of the Easy Red. So they made it hold real tight, and if I can't get it out, I can just stick something in the back to release the bit, which is nice. So overall, all by itself, this is a great tool. And when you use what comes with it to turn this into a 1/4 inch driver, which they probably intend for you to use it, but if you take that, I think you got to match up some dots or something to get that to go in. You know, instead of using it as a T-handle, I would use it just to extend this to be a very long bit ratchet. And in that way, it's, for me, it's the best. Providing that it holds up and it functions. All this stuff is made in Taiwan anyway, so I don't see why this bit ratchet wouldn't be as good as this bit ratchet or this bit ratchet, you know. So that's not even an issue. And it's flex head. This is awesome, guys. I like it. I think it's a great feature, being able to do that, and that is just awesome. And you can use whatever extensions you choose, high quality ones, cheap ones, whatever. I like the Max because they have the knurling, and it's pretty nice. And I like these extensions. So I would use these extensions, these 1/4 inch extensions with this. And you can just totally customize the size of this ratchet to whatever size you need. And that's priceless for me. If someone would just make one with this end already built in, my fear is that if I'm on something and I pull this out while I'm trying to work with it, I don't know if that will happen or not, but that's the only thing I could see being a nuisance is if this pulls away. Um, but it has a pretty good magnet in it. They wear out on most of the Harbor Freight tools that I've used. The magnets are normally their weak point. So would have been nice if they had detent in here. That's why I was like, man, if somebody makes one where this receives this 1/4" anvil, man, that would be sweet. Make the same ratchet, but for 1/4" anvil. That would be sweet. Then I get to take advantage of the ball detent, and the other end with the knurling gets to be the handle instead of the opposite way. So that's what I got, guys. Over here, this is a hoist. I'm thinking about modifying my ladder rack, because the problem with this is these have a tendency, because the wire is so close to the edge, sometimes pulling a load straight up and down, which this isn't designed for. It's for pulling a load, straight, and the wheel's going around from front to back instead of straight up and down. The cord will get bunched up like this, and it'll get bunched up on the end, and then it'll jump the track, and it'll end up getting stuck in there. And let me tell you, that's a bad day when you got a 100-pound air conditioner halfway up your ladder hoist or your ladder crane, and it's 10 feet in the air, and you need it to go 6 more feet, and you're by yourself. That's a bad day. So I said, well, since I use the thing so much, I'll just I'll get a tool that's designed, and I'll modify my machine. So this is designed to pull a load straight up and down. I won't have the benefit of having it DC powered. This is AC powered. It'd be nice if they would make one of these that is DC powered so I can use in the mobile application. But normally if I'm doing an air conditioner, almost every time I'm doing an air conditioner, the unit has power, and I can run an extension cord, which I bought to go along with this, an extension cord and a cord reel, and plug it into power in the camper to get power to this. And if they don't have power, I have a truck that has AC power in the bed. I can use my extension cord, plug it into the bed of my truck, and power this thing. I got a 50-foot extension cord that will work on this. So I'll be modifying the ladder crane, or if I can find my the rest of my aluminum stock, I will make another one that is just based off of this hoist, which is actually designed to pull a load up and down. Even has a little brake on it right here, so when the load hits, it stops, so it doesn't go up too far, and get the hook wrapped around in there. You notice that, you see, even if this got bunched up, look how much space you have between this and the fence. It's so far below the fence that even if it all got bunched up in one spot as you're going up, it wouldn't jump the fence. So, and it can be used in a double configuration. There's another hook that comes with it to make it like a 2-line hoist for heavier stuff. As you can see, on a single line, 220 pounds, double line, 440. I'm only using this for air conditioners. I don't need it. I don't need to use it as a double line. And it's only pulling 3.9 amps. It's not a whole lot. And so, yeah, I actually got to use this thing tomorrow. So I'll be working on this today, switching that over, remaking it to use the hoist, or maybe I'll do it later. Who knows? But as far as the tools, we got the Icon today, and I like that little bit ratchet. And if somebody knows of someone who makes a bit ratchet that has a 1/4" anvil receiver, let me know. I would totally buy it. It would just need to be a bit ratchet, preferably a flex head, but if it's not a flex head, I will still buy it. That has a 1/4 inch receiver so that I can use my extensions straight on. That's all for now. RV Tech Pro out.